But you give illegal taxpayer-funded lawyers, so they have millions of dollars in this agreement, in this deal, which we, by the way, killed. I think we killed it. I think it's dead. But you can never say it because bad bills always come back to life because these guys make a lot of money with bad bills. But they give millions, tens of millions of dollars, it's down there, to lawyers to represent the illegal immigrants that come into our country. It's not even believable.
That was Donald Trump from Friday night in Pennsylvania bragging about how he killed a bipartisan border deal that would have provided much necessary, much needed resources to the border. I'm Ben Meiselas from the Midas Touch Network. The Border Patrol Union supported this bipartisan deal. The lead negotiator was Oklahoma Republican Senator James Lankford, who Trump previously endorsed back in 2022 as being tough on the border. But Donald Trump made clear to MAGA Mike Johnson, the MAGA Republican Speaker of the House, Donald Trump's coffee boy, that you need to kill this bipartisan border deal because Trump wants to run on whining about the border versus having actual solutions. And before Donald Trump officially killed the border bill, and it is now dead, Donald Trump was making his rounds and saying that this bipartisan border deal, which was negotiated by Republicans that had all of the wish list that Republicans wanted on the border, Trump was saying it was a Democratic trap. Here, play this clip.
And you have Republicans itching to sign off on this in the Senate. I mean,
well, it's hard to believe because I think it probably would mean the end of their career. This is a Democrat trap. It's a trap for Republicans that would be so stupid, so foolish to sign a bill like this. This bill can't be signed. And it's not only that, it's massive amounts of money going out of town, as we say, going out of town, billions and billions and billions of dollars. And it's so bad on the border. I've never seen anything like it. Actually, it's one of the worst, one of the dumbest bills I've ever seen. I think it's dead, totally dead at the House. I think they have almost unanimous or unanimous support. But I can't imagine anybody wanting to approve this bill.
And then MAGA Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, denied that he was taking his orders from Donald Trump, but then in a press conference that he was talking to Donald Trump. Well, now we know Donald Trump's taking credit for killing it, but this is what MAGA Mike Johnson said when he was pretending that that wasn't taking place. But we have Trump on video saying it now. Play this clip.
That's a non-starter in the House. Manu.
The former president has made it clear that he doesn't want you guys to move forward on this, and judging by his comments, he clearly wants to campaign on this issue. Have you spoken to him about the Senate proposal, and are you simply trying to kill this to help him out in the campaign? No,
Manu, that's absurd. We have a responsibility here to do our duty. Our duty is to do right by the American people, to protect the people. The first and most important job of the federal government is to protect its citizens. We're not doing that under President Biden. We have only a tiny, as you know, razor-thin, actually a one-vote majority right now in the House. Our majority is small. We only have it in one chamber, but we're trying to use every ounce of leverage that we have to make sure that this issue is addressed. I have talked to former President Trump about this issue at length, and he understands that. He understands that we have a responsibility to do here. The president, of course, President Trump, wants to secure the country. President Trump is the one that talked about border security before anyone else did. He ran on, as you remember, building the wall. Why? Because he saw this catastrophe coming. He knew that if we did not get control of it, we would be in this situation. And that's why President Trump took executive actions. He used his executive authority to get that system under control.
And then MAGA Mike Johnson was asked during an interview if Trump is calling the shots, and MAGA Mike denied it, but we have it on video now. Here's MAGA Mike saying that. Play the clip.
Mr. Speaker,
he does have executive authority right now.
Mr. Speaker, you talk about H.R. 2. Again, Senator Lindsey Graham, your Republican colleagues say that stands no chance of passing through the Senate. You have an opportunity to do something right now about the situation at the border, which you've been calling for new legislation on the border since you first took office. But let me ask you about Donald Trump. He said any Republican who votes for this deal should be ashamed of themselves. You've said you speak to him frequently and that you've discussed this deal with him, quote, at length. Is Donald Trump calling the shots here, Mr. Speaker?
Of course not. He's not calling the shots. I am calling the shots for the House. That's our responsibility. And
again, here at the Midas Touch Network, I want to share views of people to give you objective evaluations of what I'm saying. So let me show you the VP of the Border Patrol Union. You can hear him say that he supports this bipartisan border deal, and it gives them important resources that they want and need. Play this clip.
Because what this bill essentially does is, you hear a lot of talk on the 5,000 cap, okay? But what that is right now there is no cap. So everyone that comes across that for asylum gets released. Under this bill, everyone's going to get detained. You're not just going to be releasing. Why is it 5,000? Because they're saying, they're going to hold up to 5,000 that they're going to go through the process, but the processes are more strict than they are now. So now the asylum officer will make the determination on the asylum, and if they don't have a good asylum claim, they're going to get, sent back immediately without ever getting released. And as opposed to now, everyone's getting released, and they're not showing up for court, or their court date is 10 years down the road. This eliminates that. It's like I said, it's not perfect. I wish everyone was getting detained. So obviously, the family units are still going to have to go through, other processes.
Okay, now let me show you the Oklahoma Republican Senator James Lankford right here, talking about how he was essentially threatened and extorted by a right-wing media commentator because he was leading these bipartisan negotiations to reach a solution on the border. Play Oklahoma's Republican Senator James Lankford saying that. Play the clip.
Some of them may have policy differences. Some of them have been very clear with me. They have political differences with the bill. They say it's the wrong time to solve the problem, or let the presidential election solve this problem. In fact, I had a popular commentator 4 weeks ago that I talked to that told me flat out, before they knew any of the contents of the bill, nothing was out at that point, that told me flat out, if you try to move a bill that solves the border crisis during this presidential year, I will do whatever I can to destroy you. Because I do not want you to solve this during the presidential election. By the way, they have been faithful to their promise and have done everything they can to destroy me in the past several weeks.
Here, Senator Lankford was asked why he thinks Donald Trump was going after him. Play the clip.
Donald Trump did endorse you.
He did.
But regardless of that, why do you think he's going after you and this border bill, considering this is the most, and I've been in this town for a lot longer than you have, this is the most conservative immigration compromise that I have ever seen come to this level. Previous efforts under Bush and under Obama were far more permissive, far more liberal than this. Why do you think Trump's going after you?
Yeah, I don't know, obviously, other than he has a different job than I have right now. His job right now is running for president, and so he's trying to be able to manage that. And obviously a chaotic border is helpful to him in the process on that.
Here, Senator James Lankford talks about how when Trump was in office, that we shouldn't have this fan fiction and make up stuff. I mean, you had about 4,000 border crossings a day, and then you had a mass casualty event during COVID, which Donald Trump utterly mishandled. But here's Senator Lankford talking about the crossings when Trump was in office. Play the clip.
I would also remind folks, during the Trump administration, we also had days of more than 4,000 people that were illegally crossing the border under the Trump administration in 2019, and they were struggling because there's gaps and loopholes in the law.
Yeah, but Senator, you know that Donald Trump, we were at a 45-year low in illegal crossings under Donald Trump, and that's just a fact. I've got the evidence to
dramatically fewer.
A 45-year low under Donald Trump in 2019.
We also had days of 3,000, 4,000, 4,500 that were happening.
But nothing like what we've seen right now. Okay, let me just
trying to figure out how to be able to implement it.
Okay, I'm sorry to talk over you, Senator. I think we might have a little bit of a delay.
And here is Republican Congress member Chip Roy speaking on the House floor. Play the clip.
No, we're not going to just pass the buck and say that, any president can walk in and secure the border. I saw former President Trump make that allegation earlier today on one of his social media posts. All the president has to do is declare the border is closed and it's closed. Well, with all due respect, That didn't happen in 2017, 18, 19, and 20. There were millions of people who came into the United States during those 4 years.
Here is Republican Senator Mitt Romney from Utah. Play the clip.
Oh, I think the border is a very important issue for Donald Trump, and the fact that he would communicate to Republican senators and congresspeople that he doesn't want us to solve the border problem because he wants to blame Biden for it is really appalling. But the reality is that we have a crisis at the border. The American people are suffering as a result of what's happening at the border, and someone running for president ought to try and get the problem solved, as opposed to saying, "Hey, save that problem. Don't solve it. Let me take credit for solving it later."
And here, MAGA Mike Johnson, in MAGA Republican fashion, wants to gaslight everyone and said, this just shows that things are working. This is how things are supposed to be. No, it's not, MAGA Mike. It isn't. This is how MAGA tries to harm our country. You actually have mainstream Republicans and Democrats working together to find a solution, and Donald Trump wants to whine about chaos and create problems so he can say, I alone can fix it. Despicable. It's MAGA Mike.
Speaker, what would you say to Americans concerned that Congress isn't able to do basic functions?
Well, it's just simply not true. We're governing here. Sometimes it's messy. The framers anticipated that you would have a system where people with very different philosophical viewpoints that come from different parts of the country and different constituencies would have different ideas on how to resolve their problems. But what they also anticipated is that we'd be able to get in a room and arm wrestle over public policy and come to consensus to move the ball forward for the most people. That is what's happening here. You're seeing the messy sausage making, the process of democracy play out. And it's not always clean, it's not always pretty, but the job will be done at the end of the day.
And then Trump, for MAGA Mike's effort, says MAGA Mike's a good guy. This is what Trump said on Thursday. Play the clip.
President, do you still have confidence in Speaker Johnson after the failed Mayorkas impeachment effort?
I do have confidence in him. I very much do. I think he's a very good man, and I have great confidence in him.
And we could take all of that and let's show you President Biden talking about what he was trying to do, which was find a bipartisan solution that MAGA Republicans have blown up and killed. Play the clip.
Immediately. But if the bill fails, I want to be absolutely clear about something. The American people are going to know why it failed. I'll be taking this issue to the country, and the voters are going to know that it's not just a moment. Just at the moment, we're going to secure the border and fund these other programs. Trump and the MAGA Republicans said no, because they're afraid of Donald Trump. Afraid of Donald Trump. Every day between now and November, the American people are going to know that the only reason the border is not secure is Donald Trump and his MAGA Republican friends. It's time for Republicans in the Congress to show a little courage, to show a little spine, to make it clear to the American people that you work for them, not for anyone else. I know who I work for. I work for the American people.
So tell me what you feel in the comments below. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 3 million subscribers, Midas Mighty. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ben Mycelis, and have a great day.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.